Hello, my name is Patrick Carr. I'm from Johnstown, Pennsylvania area, actually Jerome, Pennsylvania, the booming metropolis south of Johnstown. And been watching a lot, involved in different discussions, a lot on Facebook about everything going on, the grievances with this president that so many seem to have, the going back and forth about the gentleman that was killed by the police, that police brutality that occurred, and the gentleman died. And of course, many have connected that with, what many are calling systemic racism and racial problems throughout the country. Certainly not here to discuss or deny any of that in terms of people acknowledging that it's out there. But I've been thinking a lot, about my words and how I've been saying it, and found myself to be humbled a bit, because I feel that I too have added to the chaos at times with some things. I try to put things out on Facebook to provoke thought, to get people to think. And unfortunately now I find my voice being throttled. I find my voice being blocked. I find my opinion no longer being solicited by some that know my opinion and might be on the opposite point of view with me. And they've chosen to take their team, which is fine. Team politics seems to be the norm today. It's sad, it's disgusting, and it's destroying our country, in my opinion. But at the same time, it is what some people do, and people close to me are taking team politics. But I have a higher calling, and I am going to step to my higher calling these days and stop meddling in the affairs of men, I guess is how they say. But first of all, I just wanted to share something that our pastor said the other night at church. I finally got to return to church, got to be in the sound booth and serve during the service, and we were talking afterwards with our pastor, and he had met with several black pastors from our community. Obviously, there's a lot of concern about racial tensions, and the pastors in our community are proactive in that regard. And he sat down with some black pastors and started talking about what's the source of the problem here. And the answer to me stopped me dead in my tracks. And it really caught me. And he said their answer, and it wasn't anything about racial prejudice or anything like that, but they all said, look, the bottom line is this is a sin problem. This is men living in sin. From both sides of the argument, this is a sin problem. I thought that was profound. That was profound. So today, I want to give hope for the solution. And I'm going to give it on the basis of Jesus Christ and who he is and what he's doing, because there's some pretty fantastic things going on in the Christian realm today. However, I must say, where are the Christian leaders out there? Where are they speaking for peace, for people to calm down and come together? Where are the Christian leadership? Where are all these people that have written all these books and made their millions of dollars in their ministries? Where are you? Where are you? You have a message of hope that's a solution to this problem. Where are you? I don't hear any of you speaking out. That really caught me, though. Profound statement that, I would expect to hear, well, we got this systemic racism over here, we got this here, we got this here. But they said, no, it's a sin problem. And if we're all honest, they're right. White, black, red, yellow, green, purple, it doesn't matter who you are. The core of all problems is sin. Last night in our men's time, we got together for the first time in 4 months. And everybody looked healthy. Nobody was sniffling. Nobody was sick. And we had a wonderful time together. But we came together to answer a question. What is the fear of the Lord? And my goodness, what a challenging time. It really made me think. It challenged my position. It was great. And it wasn't in this thing of where, you're wrong about this and this person says this. And it wasn't anything like that. It was four men coming together saying, we want to fear God. What does that really mean? What does that mean to us? In Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Would it not be more wise to come together and respect that we are going to have different opinions, but to be able to talk about it? I don't buy the fallacy that people shouldn't talk about politics. That is false. That is team politics. We should be able to sit down and discuss our views on things. And we should have differences, maybe coming from opposite sides, but we should be able to sit down and discuss it. But why can't we? Because of sin. In that case, it's the sin of pride. We're proud people. We want to be right. So I've been abandoning arguments. I've been stepping back and abandoning some arguments. And just stepping back and not participating in a lot of it. And I've watched thousands of people ruining their lives, walking around stressed out and freaked out because they're in this argument, that argument, with this argument, that argument. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever would believe in him would not perish but have everlasting life. Do I fear God enough to answer the sin problem, starting with me, and then starting with those around me, and those out there? Do I fear God enough to address the core of the problem? That we are sinful men, and that we all need a Savior. It's true. We are sinful men and women and children. We're born in sin. We're going to tend to go to that direction where we want to have our pride and our say. This is injustice, so we want to bring it about ourselves. We're going to bring justice about ourselves. And yet that just leads to chaos. And it leads to division, which is constantly being fueled from one generation to the next. One generation to the next. Division, division. I don't know about you. The last I saw, I still live in the United States of America, and that means you're here, I'm here. I would much rather be able to discuss our differences on the grounds of dignity and respect and allowing all voices to be heard, rather than having a certain trend of thought dominate the media, dominate the narrative, having people make up narratives to keep the division going. I will no longer be a part of that. I refuse to be a part of the division, but I will be a part of the answer. And that answer begins with Jesus Christ. I challenge you. Who do you think Jesus really is? Who do you think he really is? And if you want, you contact me. I'll be happy to help you find out. But the fact of the matter is, we will never have peace until we can all sit down and deal with the real problem. Our sin. It's my sin that needs to be addressed. I don't need to address the sin in everybody else. I don't need to do that. I need to start with me. So I challenge you today. Who's with me? Will you start looking at yourself and the wrong things in yourself and deal with those things and get those right? Because if we all did that, perhaps we wouldn't have to see all these riots and these protests. And perhaps we could have constructive discussion to resolve the problems in our society. But until we do that, until we get rid of this sin problem, which the remedy is here, it's available, we're never going to get there. There's always going to be those who want to have their way. And now people seem to think they can force their way, despite what the law of the land says, despite what is right and what is wrong. There's been no disagreement in many facets of this, and yet if you continue to have discussions, disagreement always arises, and it usually arises with people blocking somebody on Facebook, or, well, we just can't talk about this. There is nothing I can't discuss with anyone, and I'm happy to have audience to do so. And I myself am challenging myself to show the same dignity and respect towards that person, whether I agree or vehemently disagree. It doesn't matter. It must be a respectful conversation. There must be truthful facts put out, not talking points. There must be an honesty towards one another, that we're honestly both trying to find a solution. Unfortunately, most of our country doesn't seem to show the maturity to be able to do that. I've had my moments. I will be the first to admit I've had moments I've just been overboard. Just need to back it off. And I have. I've chosen not to give in to the outrage, but chosen to seek to be a part of the solution. Thank you for those black pastors here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, who said the source of this problem is sin. Gee, isn't that the source of all of our problems? God bless you. May God bless our country. And I hope that this video blesses someone and at least brings us to a place where you can stop and for a moment have peace with one another and maybe decide to take a different tactic, a different direction to solving the problems we face today as a society, and that good things can come from this. Have a great day, everybody.